Hello, it's September 26th, Friday, 2025. I guess I said that in a weird order. There's like a light. That works. Wear my hat, but it's dark. It's like oddly. It doesn't feel darker here than the other places. I just made it. Huh. Uh-oh. The fire department is opening their doors. Here they go. I guess they're coming out. There's a bush. We're behind a big hedge. And the fire department is on the other side of the road. One of the engines left, but no lights, no emergency lights. The second engine is leaving with no emergency lights. So at least they weren't like, whoop. Anyway. We're in Olathe, Kansas, a suburb of Kansas City, Missouri. I guess. Well, how does that work? It's not immediately adjacent to Kansas City. I guess it's like imagine it's probably considered the greater Kansas City area. I don't know, maybe not. But it's, like, people live here and commute to Kansas City. Like going up I-35 highway goes right through Olathe. So you would go from the south, Gardner, Olathe, maybe Lenexa, Overland Park, then probably like Mission. It's in Kansas. Roland Park, and then Kansas City, Missouri. But these are a lot of those are smaller towns. So I guess it's fairly far away, removed from Kansas City, but I still think of it as part of the metro area. It didn't used to feel like that when I lived out here in the early 90s. It was the first place I actually moved to on my own. Live on my own. My parents lived in South Kansas City, Missouri, and I moved out here. I was in a church out here, so I roommated with a friend out here, and I worked in a place that wasn't too awful far from here, so a car wash. And that was in Overland Park. That's a larger town to the north and east of this town. And it's got a lot of businesses, corporate businesses there. It's like a major, like, place for office buildings. So yeah, I worked at a car wash out there, but I lived out here. And back then it was like this town felt a lot more removed from the rest of the metro. Not like way far away, but like development between Overland Park and Olathe was not seamless. You know, you'd kind of go through some. I mean, I guess in maybe some parts it was, but in a lot of parts, or more parts than now, it was like you'd kind of go through some fields, some farm fields, before you got to Olathe. And now it's kind of just feels more like one conglomerate. Or like going from Olathe to the north to Lenexa or Overland Park used to feel like definitely there was more of a gap than there is now. Definitely that way. There was a lot of more farm or ranch land type stuff. And now it's just kind of feels a lot more like all one conglomeration of businesses and subdivisions. It'd be interesting to like see time-lapse aerial photography or something like that. It's interesting how that happens, and you know, and then you just get used to it, and it's like you have a hard time picturing how it used to be. Here comes a fire truck. But that is what happens, I guess. So I remember I liked coming out here, living out here, because it did feel like you were pretty removed from the city. I never have been a huge fan of cities, but and it was a small enough town. Like I remember I would frequently see people that I knew when I would go to like the grocery store or something. I was about to say that definitely doesn't happen now, but I mean, I don't live here now, and it's been a long time since I've lived here. But there did come a point where that stopped being the case. That's a fire truck, and so that kind of happens, and I think it tends to make places worse overall, unfortunately. But it's like, what do you do? You know, the population keeps growing, so you need more stuff, more houses, I guess, and more places for people to go get things. But it just tends to degrade a place. Like Olathe, like the older part of Olathe, like where I lived, it's like payday loan, pawn shops, bail bonds, like everywhere galore. Bail bondsmen or whatever. It's not a good place anymore. That looks cool. Another fire truck. The part I'm in right now is I guess pretty good still. It's kind of like it's like an industrial type. It's offices. It's kind of like an extension of Overland Park to some extent. It's like mostly an industrial area, warehouses, offices. I'm trying to like picture in my head what is where in each direction. It's mostly that kind of stuff. This is a Bass Pro. So it's a pretty good. I find that those type of areas can be pretty good. Like they're there just for business, you know, and they're not necessarily part of a like if you were in an industrial area next to downtown Kansas City, it would be a different story. like it's a small town, a city. This particular city, is not a large city in itself, so the industrial type areas are pretty innocuous, So pretty safe to be in at night. You could probably walk around at night. A lot of lights. I read that lighting is the number one thing that deters crime, which it sounds so simple and obvious, and so I guess it's not surprising, but at the same time it kind of is. It's like, I think people tend to go to firearms and self-defense and alarms and things, but it's lighting is the main factor. So if you have good lighting, you've got a lot less crime. A lot less, I should say. So, and this whole industrial areas are like that. They just got lights everywhere in these businesses, and big, floodlights and a lot of street lights. And I know it seems so dark in here. I guess it's probably because the shadows are harsh from the lights, but there's actually a lot of lights around me. It's very, very well lit here. So yep. We ran errands today. We had to pick up Jacob and have him come and sign a check and provide ID so we could deposit our refund from that apartment we didn't end up going into because he was on the lease that got terminated. So the check was made out to him and me and Nikki. So we went to AT&T stores to try to get him a phone on our plan, but they said we had to have the current account holder contact customer service and before we could do anything. We went out to lunch with Jacob. We first stopped by my sister's to get Jacob's birth certificate and social security card. Talked to her for a while, and then we did all that. And then we dropped him off, and we came back to my sister's to put the birth certificate and social security card back with our stuff in our storage. That's where our storage is in her house. And then we hung out for quite a while. We actually went door dashing with my nephew because he wants to DoorDash, so we just kind of all went to together to show him how to do it, how it goes. And we went back there and hung out, and that was cool. And then we pretty much just grabbed some dinner and came here. So that is really all there was to this day. It's kind of surprising sometimes how long errands take, how much time they can take up. So that was the whole day. And tomorrow, we'll see. Tomorrow evening is a birthday party. I was supposed to do probably a run today, but I just did not make the time. I guess I could have cut our hangout short, but I felt like it was important. And I could even go do something now, but to be honest, I'm tired and I had diarrhea yesterday, and I think I want to make sure I recover correctly from that. And I probably should have gone on a walk, but I don't want to leave Nikki alone here, and I'm tired and recovering from diarrhea, so I think I'm gonna let myself off on this day, I guess. Maybe I'll try to do something easy, something short or easy tomorrow. I don't know. Or maybe just wait till the Sunday workout. And yeah. I'm probably gonna try to go down to Rolla to see our oldest son Justice on Wednesday. So I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I'm still just tired and kind of a little brain dead, I guess. I gotta get back on my supplements. My creatine, I've been forgetting to take all that stuff. Just because I'm out of my routine. Whenever we go somewhere else, things are always a bit different, and I get out of that routine, especially if we're doing errands and to-dos and things. That's not our routine, we're just kind of trying to check things off, so I just kind of lose track of those things, which I shouldn't do. But I'll pick back up on that tomorrow. You take a multivitamin, which there's been a big study showing now that works. I take creatine. I take quite a lot of creatine because it helps the brain, they know now. Especially if you take a lot. The usual dose is 5 grams a day, but I take 10 to 20, sometimes even 25. And I take CoQ10 for energy, and I sometimes take rhodiola, a Siberian herb that is supposed to help with recovery. I think it seems like it does help me with that, so I take it sometimes. And then N-acetylcysteine I take if I think that we're getting sick or are sick, which makes me think I should have taken that today because of the diarrhea. It could have been viral or something. So I gotta get back on all that. But that's my supplements. The N-acetylcysteine causes in the lab rats or whatever, if those lab rats or mice, I think it was, had existing cancerous tumors, the N-acetylcysteine would cause those tumors to grow. So if you have cancerous tumors, you don't want to take it. But if you don't, it doesn't give you cancer. So at least that's what the conclusion was, as I understand it. So something I saw a video about, L-theanine is supposed to be like a big brain hack, like L-theanine with caffeine or something. I might have to look into trying that. What else? I'm tired. I gotta get back into writing. Maybe we'll start having a schedule here where we include that. And music. I gotta get back to music. I haven't done that in a long time. Was planning on doing all of it when we got back in the apartment and having kind of a better setup for that, but we'll see. Oh, a guy at an AT&T store was rude. We're like, yeah, we would like to move this Jacob's phone over to our plan, and he was like, well, you can't. You have to have this guy. You have to have the other guy, whoever account it is, come in here and be here. And he was just being snotty. It wasn't the fact that he's telling us we can't. It was just he was like all pissy about it. And then he ended up saying, well, no, he doesn't have to be here. He can call customer service. So he contradicted himself and was just being rude. And we were leaving, and Nikki goes, well, you lost the sale. I was going to upgrade mine and my husband's phone. And he was just like, eh. He like laughed. And I was like, why are you rude? And he goes, I'm not rude, you're rude. And I was like, well, it seems obvious you're stressed. And I was like, if this job isn't for you, just live a simpler life and you wouldn't have to do this kind of work. And he was just like, you have a good day. I was like, we will. Or I said, we will. He was just like treating us like the plague because we didn't know that, because we had a question about it's an AT&T store and we have an AT&T plan, and so does Jacob's on an AT&T plan. We're asking, how can we move him to our plan? And it's like he just got upset about it. So it's like you don't have basic manners. You don't know how to talk to a person, much less a customer. Can you imagine how he talks to people that aren't customers? But that's not a surprise, especially in Kansas City. People in cities are worse people. They're just worse behaved for the most part. Not every single person, but that's just my experience. I mean, I wish it wasn't true, but it certainly seems to be true. I can't deny what my eyes see and my ears hear. They're just people, and there's just not that there's no rude people in smaller towns like Laramie, but boy, there's a lot more bad, rude, selfish, whatever they are, people in larger towns. They just are. And I think they're just under more stress and pressure for the most part, for a number of reasons. I mean, one obvious reason is traffic. It's so hard to get around. It's like Mad Max or being in the Coliseum or something. That alone might be enough to just put people up in the red zone stress-wise. There's pollution. The air is not as clean. But I didn't want to get into that too much. I've talked about that stuff before. I had an article or blog or whatever I was writing on manners. I think I wrote one kind of about manners, but I have a more in-depth one where I kind of did some research on the history of manners. Kind of pretty interesting. I probably need to finish that. But the basic idea is that good manners or good etiquette is about preferring other people to yourself, trying to put other people first. In general, when you're just going about in the world, like opening a door for someone or saying thank you or you're welcome or please, these are things that are, the intent is to make other people feel appreciated and respected. That is the point. And that is a very Christian point. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So, that's kind of the deal. And everybody wants to be respected, treated with respect and appreciation. But there are people that are like, oh, it's fake. I want to be treated real. It's like, no, that is your messed up side that thinks you don't deserve it, or that assumes that it's fake always coming from people. And then you get into the whole thing, well, it's fake. It's like, what do you mean? Showing someone respect, holding a door for them, that's fake? No, it's real. I held the door. I used kind words, respectful words, or I listened and was patient and let them go first, or just, it's like, these aren't fake things. And I think what they mean is, well, you don't really respect me. And it's like, well, that's a lie too, because those actions are the respect. And it doesn't mean that maybe you can't be harboring any ill will, or there might be some level of, I don't know, disdain or something, but you're still choosing the right thing. You're choosing the respect, and you're choosing the kindness, even if you might not feel like it. And that's probably an arguably more real version of manners than only doing what you felt like doing, because that's the easy route. If you do something that's right, even when you don't feel like doing it, it's arguably the more real version of it. So that whole thinking in people's heads is stupid. Now if somebody was like acting polite but was really actually like plotting against you, and using it to manipulate you and trick you, that's different. But that's, and that's, if people do that, sure, that's not good. You can't be naive, I guess. Like, get in my car. I would like to offer you some free candy, child. It's like, no. That's obviously not good manners. But it's like, I think most people kind of get hung up on this weird idea of it, and then so they think good manners are worthless or fake, and they're like, it's better if I like people that just are mean to me, because then I know that there's no false pretense. Because if they're, at least, yes, I think the thought is, well, if they're being rude or not, being kind of rude, I know it's real. And it's like, it's kind of like, that's pretty messed up way of thinking of it. It's like, oh, okay, it's real. They actually are rude and can't be bothered to put even a modicum of politeness forward. At least it's real. It's like, sure, okay, then avoid them. But then what happens is the people hang around these people and befriend them and marry them and things, and it's like, and you end up with a person that can't be bothered to show a modicum of respect or politeness. Wow, good job. This is completely stupid and absurd, because all in the name of, well, it was real. And the niceness wasn't real, because I suspect they really don't feel as nice as they're acting. But the point is, you should act differently than you feel like acting. That's the whole point of living right and doing right, is you do what is right regardless of how you feel. It's not that complicated. And additionally, if someone is being rude or whatever, and somebody's like, oh, they're real, I like that. It's like, did it ever occur to you that they might have a little bit of brains and potentially have thought about the fact, oh, when I'm rude, people think it makes me real, and so then they trust me, and so then I can manipulate them, so I'm going to start off being rude. It's like, that's like just a few steps of thinking. It's like, you don't have to be that smart to think that. And it's funny, because these people are on the lookout for, like, who's real, who's fake, who's deceiving me, who's not. Oh, they're mean, they're real. It's like, no, it takes like just an extra step of planning to be mean and be deceptive. It's pretty easy. So it just blows my mind. But anyway, that's that topic for now, I guess. I don't know what else. Lately, I'm sitting here like, how did I used to talk for so long? I guess it's been 30 minutes. That's pretty good. I'm feeling bad because I haven't worked out, but I did Tuesday long run and Wednesday, Thursday break. I maybe would have normally done strengthening on Thursday, but I had diarrhea. Now it's Friday. We were busy. I got to be careful not to miss the next workout, even if I have to just do something real easy. As long as I'm healthy enough. Because let's see, Sunday. So like, I consider Tuesday to be kind of like the end of my running week. So then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is today. So I'm only on the third day of my running week. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So I have 4 more. And that would be, it looks like I'm flipping over. So Friday, so this would be Sunday, second easy type run or something. Then something else here, and then long run. So I skipped this run. And I have these runs. Saturday, Monday. I could still do something on Saturday and Monday too. I could do like a cross training or strengthening. I'm kind of trying to treat this week, so 2 runs and 1 or 2 strengths or cross training. I'm kind of treating this week as a recovery week. My training has been undisciplined, and I'm not following a plan really, which is not good. So it seems like I think it's probably time for a recovery week. So like a shorter distance type thing. So I might, like for strength and conditioning, maybe I would do like yoga type stuff or something, like some poses and stretches, and like a run might be like some hill sprints maybe, or just a 20-minute, 25-minute really slow jog. That you can do the sprints because your distance is so much less. It seems that's the case, like that doesn't necessarily hinder your recovery, but I can tend to get injured on more intense sessions because I'm not holding my running form. So when I do those, I really need to hold my running form. I feel like the hills kind of help with lowering the impact. One thing I've done in the past is like bike sprints on a stationary bike, and that way I figure out I'm really reducing any risk of injury. But you can really turn up the tension on those stationary bikes and just go hard and just just beast yourself pretty quickly, pretty easy. So you could do like little bursts, you know. I can't remember, it's been so long now. I don't remember how I would do those. Like one of them was like 30 seconds hard, like all out, like flat out, as hard as you can go. And I'd also had done this while running. It's like 30 seconds hard, 20 seconds jog, 10 seconds break, I think. And then like do that like 10 times, and it's shocking how hard that is. Because if you're running all out for those 30 seconds, like as hard as you can, it's like it's intense. It's very intense. Another one was like 400-meter sprints. So like almost half a K, 4/10 of a kilometer. And I think when I did it on the bike, I like converted it, because like a bike is a run is 2 to 3 times harder than a bike. So like I would do like 200 maybe kilometers, or 800 kilometers, or 8 or 1200 on the bike. Although you can turn that tension up too so much that the resistance, you could probably get away with just keeping it at 400. But I guess time is a factor there too. I don't remember how I did that. It's been a while. So we'll see. And that kind of workout, it helps your VO2 max, like the amount of oxygen that you can use, your body can use per breath of oxygen. And that's considered a pretty good indicator of your overall health, is what your VO2 max, the V volume, O2 oxygen, 2 oxygen molecules, and max is the maximum amount of oxygen, volume of oxygen you can use per breath. The Garmin watches claim to be able to measure the VO2 max, but I don't know how accurate that probably isn't, because like when they measure your VO2 max in a lab, you're like breathing into a thing and you're all hooked up. But I don't know. I don't know. They can measure heart rate variability, through the watch. Those oximeters on your finger can measure your oxygen. You can tell your respiration rate through the watch reliably based on your pulse. You can tell your pulse, of course. So, I don't know. Maybe it's somehow able to compute it. But Mine is, I guess, in the good range. Not like exceptional or anything, but yeah, those high intensity workouts are supposed to help with that. And I've read before, that it's one of the most important health indicators, especially as you age, is like VO2 max. So like, I've heard people argue that doing high intensity short workouts is more important than longer endurance workouts, which I don't know if that's true or not. I've heard people say that, but I mostly do the longer endurance ones. But I guess I probably should throw in more of the hard ones. They're so unpleasant. They practically make you puke. And I think a lot of people do often puke in those kinds of like sprints and things, and it's intense, if you're going flat out. You feel like you're gonna suffocate or die, but you won't probably, but that's what it feels like. I don't know. I guess I feel like I've gone a good amount now. I'm sorry. Maybe my creative mind will get better as I get more back into writing and a routine. I got to get that blog done on the topic of time, goals, and schedules. I think I was titling it. I feel like maybe once I get done with that, I'll have more to say, maybe, or I'll be able to move on to something new to say. That topic is just so rich and deep, I think. I keep just getting more and more stuff on it when I work on it, and I feel like I have a ton to say about it. Or it's like I feel like I'm getting like little offshoot topics off of it, like little more. Yeah, it's less like having developed ideas to say about it, but like I keep getting new ideas about it. But it's like they're new, they're like budding little sprouts, and I'm like, oh, this, that, and I'm kind of like, where do I go with those? And I feel like I'm just kind of like, I don't know. It's just kind of a little almost overwhelming, just trying to absorb those thoughts and process them. And when I was blogging like every day, it was more just like, okay, what do I think about this? Let me just say what I think about it and see what I maybe can learn a few things about it. But this is more like, what can I think? Like, not what do I already think, but what can I think about this? And what can I learn about it? That's kind of more how I feel about it. And I guess I could just kind of at some point stop that mode and be like, okay, here's what I've thought and here's what I think about it. But I don't know, it's hard. Time is just a different one for me. It's like, especially in how you regarding how you plan and use your time. That's something I've always struggled with, and so I feel I'm having a hard time drawing a confident conclusion on what I want to say about it. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I think I'm going to wrap it up now. God bless you. Lord bless everybody watching. Be with them, keep them safe, help them to follow your plan, find and follow your plan for their life. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen. Good night.